Hello, Links community. I'm delighted to be here this afternoon with Dr. Michelle Marks, the incoming Chancellor for CU Denver. Over the last several weeks, Michelle and I have had the opportunity to spend a little time together on telephone calls, and I have been delighted to have a chance to get a little better acquainted with her. And I'm really excited about today having a chance for all of you to do that as well. In any number of conversations I've had with many of you, I've told you that I just feel that Michelle is absolutely the right person to take CU Denver to the next level. And so, Michelle, it's great to see you today. And while we're usually on the telephone, it's nice to be able to see each other face to face.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and I can't wait to get there.
Well, I know this has been a really busy time for you with the transition. And can you tell us a little bit about, since the appointment has been finalized and as you're thinking about coming to CU Denver, how have you been doing with being able to tie up things there at George Mason University and anticipating coming on out to Colorado to CU Denver?
Well, I think it hasn't been business as usual for any of us these days, and that holds true for me as well. Right now, I'm still very involved in George Mason University's response to the pandemic, but I do hope to be wrapping up activities here in Virginia over the next few weeks and making my way out to Denver, and I can't wait. With help on the ground there, I secured a place to live downtown, and I'm excited to be moving there and to get to know the community.
Great. Well, I'm so pleased that you've been able to make the time to have conversations, not just with me, but I know that you've met with the Chancellor's Cabinet, members of that group, as well as the deans and other governance leaders on campus as well. So you've had an opportunity to begin getting a bit acquainted with each of those individuals too.
Yes, it's true. I've enjoyed my conversations. I can't tell you how excited I am to join the Links community. It's such a difficult time for many, but it's also an exciting time for me in thinking about joining the CU Denver community. So many universities like to distinguish themselves by thinking about being selective and being elite. And CU Denver, even though it continues to strengthen itself in the research world, it maintains a commitment to access, it maintains a commitment to equity. That's not going to change. The fact that you're serving so many students who are first generation and their families to go to college, so many students who are transferring in, so many students that are juggling work and family commitments, that feels like me. That's what I stand for. That's what I'm passionate about. And so for me, even with all the hardship that we're facing right now, I'm still really enthusiastic about joining your community.
Oh, that's fabulous. And, I think coming out on the other side of COVID-19, it's going to be institutions like CU Denver that are going to have an even more critical role in our communities. And the kinds of issues that this pandemic has opened up are exactly the issues that I think our faculty will want to delve into and already bring a commitment of social justice and equity in our communities, and no doubt issues regarding transportation and housing and food insecurity, educational inequality, health disparities, all of those things have just had a magnifying glass put on them through COVID-19. Is that the way you see it as well, that it's going to be places like CU Denver that can be a part of the solution moving forward?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I think while a lot has changed in the last few months, the public research universities are going to be essential, not only in the immediate challenge of solving this coronavirus, but also to the larger questions of finding new ways that our societies are going to learn and teach and form communities and solve the world's most pressing problems. And urban research universities have an added value at this moment in time, and I think CU Denver is going to have to play an even more vital role in the community of Denver to address just the inequalities, Dorothy, that you spoke about. These inequalities as you see and as I see, are being exacerbated during this pandemic. And so we need universities like CU Denver to play a role in how do we address this, to give the community a sense of well-being and access to art and entertainment and lifelong learning. So I do think that CU Denver has a large role in supporting the rebound.
Well, and one of the things that it's come to mind to me as I've watched how we have dealt with this, that the qualities that I think in many ways describe not just the faculty and staff, but also our students, are the very qualities that we've had to rely on through this pandemic. That there is a sense of knowing how to confront obstacles, that the sense of perseverance, a sense of that resourcefulness, that we'll figure this out. You know, this isn't the first time that we've had a bump in our road. And so, you know, we'll just keep going. And all of that, I think, for me, just says hopefulness for the future, and that our students, and with the support of our faculty and staff, they're going to be the ones that are going to rise to the top and be the problem solvers and the thought leaders going forward.
I absolutely agree. And, you know, in higher education, we don't often think of ourselves in the business about making decisions about life or death crises, but that's exactly how we're thinking as we prepare to open our campuses at CU Denver and all across America, and in a way that keeps our community safe. And as you're speaking to, there are good things that are coming out of it. And as you've told me about the way that the CU Denver community is coming together to make hard decisions that put students first, that put students' safety, and that put students' education first, it's been just unbelievable how the campus has come together to make decisions and do it in record time. And I've seen the way, Dorothy, that you and others are listening to the community, to students, to faculty, to staff, as you all navigate the decisions that will have such a deep impact on everything. And, you know, crises have a way of revealing true character, and it often exposes our strengths and our weaknesses. And from conversations with you and other CU Denver colleagues, I hear that it has revealed your strengths. And if there's anything I've learned from this time, it's that absolutely nothing is impossible if we stay grounded in our mission and our values and our service. And when we show compassion and empathy for each other. And I think, even speaking personally, I'm developing more resilience and flexibility from this crisis. There's a lot that we can't control right now and that we don't know. And I feel myself learning to adapt to the uncertainties of the time. How about you, Dorothy? How is it going for you?
Well, I certainly would have never anticipated that this was going to be how my final months at CU Denver were going to be occupied. But in many ways, you know, I think the world works in unusual ways. And for me to at least be able to be here to provide some continuity. And every day, I just am so grateful that the process to select you and to bring you to CU Denver move forward in spite of these challenges. And that says an enormous amount about this institution and our community as well. And so it is with, you know, a great deal of gratitude and hopefulness that every day I feel like we are making important decisions. There are no clear answers. And over time, I think probably that's one of the benefits of having been in a leadership role for a long time, is that you recognize that we'll figure it out, you know, and that we've got to be patient with ourselves and with others. And the fact that I feel like I can be here at this critical time and be able to literally help pass the baton to you, Michelle, in a way that is going to hopefully continue positive momentum, is something that I'm really honored and feel quite privileged to do, actually, because what I've learned about this place during the time that I've been there is that it matters. And I think it's going to matter more than ever, not just to those of us who are part of the university and the students that we serve, but to the larger community. And the work that we have done and the progress that has been made over the past few years as really positioning CU Denver as an anchor within our institution and a resource and part of the problem-solving force that this city can have, I think is going to come around in ways that it's going to need to be tapped even more so than it has been. And so I think there are a lot of the building blocks in place that are poised and ready to move to that next level. And that what I have come to know and really appreciate about you is that that notion of engagement and connection is really important, and that in every aspect, that the research work that our faculty are doing, the ingenuity of the students, and one of the things I've come to love about our students, they want to make an impact. They are passionate about the world and their place in it. And I think the combination of having faculty who have that kind of deep expertise and having the energy of the students, and then the connection in the larger ecosystem of the community, all of that just bodes extraordinarily well going forward.
Well, Dorothy, many have told me what you have done for this institution, that you've brought them together and solidified a shared identity as an urban public research institution, really poised to take it to the next level. And I want to know if you have advice for me. I want to step into some very, very big shoes. And what advice would you give me?
Well, I don't think you need much advice, Michelle, and the time that I've spent with you, I think you're going to bring a great deal of insight and wisdom. If I were to offer anything, it would be don't miss the joy that comes with this kind of an opportunity. As I think back over my days and months and years at CU Denver, I'm never tired of, even though some days the problems were big ones that had to be wrestled with, and the challenges were always there, and there's absolutely more work to be done. But I look at how far the campus has come, not just in my tenure, but since it's still a relatively young campus, and the future is extraordinarily bright. But every single day, I was energized by the people and by the mission that we serve. And, I would hope that going forward, that you could really have the opportunity to just feel that sense of value and the draw from the people who will, inspire you every day, I think. And even though I didn't do it as often as I would have liked to, I love to wander the campus and Lawrence Street between the buildings, and it was always in getting to another meeting, but just those small conversations that you could have along the way, and learning about people's stories was something that, whether it was our students or faculty or staff, it was something I truly loved, because one of the things that I came to understand and genuinely appreciate, people make a choice to be at a place like CU Denver. That many of our faculty and staff are first generation college graduates themselves. We have many staff members who are graduates of CU Denver and believe so strongly in its work that they have come back to be a part of it and to carry it forward. And so it really is that the at the end of the day, the thing that matters the most are the relationships that you have. And so to just embrace those, and I think, the CU Denver community, but the Denver community at large, I think is a very welcoming place. And I have no doubt that you will, people will greet you with open arms, and that you'll find this to feel like home in short order.
I've already experienced a lot of very warm welcome, and I truly can't wait to meet people as individuals. Do you remember when you first started at CU Denver, and what things surprised you?
Well, unlike you, I didn't know I wanted this job.
So that surprised you.
So, everything was a surprise. As I've said to people, my head and my heart ganged up on me when I was asked to do this. And I found myself stepping into it and then thinking, oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into? But it didn't take long to realize that it was the place where I was meant to be. And it truly was the capstone for my life and my career professionally. And I think I was somewhat taken back. And, when you realize that I was the first standalone chancellor that was full-time, permanent in 12 years. And so there was a hunger for a leader and somebody who cared passionately about the place. And that was easy for me to do, because like you, that's been my life's work. And, I kind of have had the motto for my own life of what more is possible for individuals, for work groups, for institutions, for communities. And what more was possible at CU Denver came from people coming together. It wasn't that they weren't working hard and doing important work, but they hadn't had somebody to help them weave that into a shared vision and to connect the pieces and parts and to elevate it within the community. And I had a great team to help do all of those things, but there was a hunger and a readiness for that leadership that folks really responded to.
Well, I'm grateful for your leadership. I'm grateful for the way that you are helping me with my transition and the time that we're spending together, getting to know each other. I'm grateful for the team that you'll be leaving me, such a competent, wonderful group of individuals that are already helping me get going and enable me to hit the ground running, which is going to be so important as we move into the fall.
Well, you're so welcome, and I think that they will be everything that you believe that they will be. And there are some areas, Michelle, where I think about your background and experience and what you have accomplished that are, I think, positioned to be able to really take advantage of. And as I think about that, I look at online, that the CU system is making a big push in that area. And you and I have talked a little bit about your experience in that, and that you see that as a huge opportunity to open up the pathway of education to a lot more people. I think about your experience in working with transfer students, and one half of the students at CU Denver are transfer students from community colleges and other institutions. And I think about your commitment to executive education and your interest in that area. And those are three things that I think, again, we've made some headway in them, but they can be catapulted, I think, into the future.
Yes, well, I have done a lot of work in those areas. I do see great opportunities in those to do more in those areas at CU Denver. American higher education has been built primarily on a residential model, where students learn in classrooms and they also learn outside the classrooms and off campus in internships and study abroads and other community service and experiences. And this semester, that model has been completely turned on its head. And now students are learning inside and outside the classroom, looking through a technology device. And the thing is that the advantage that I see for doing more of this at CU Denver is that you all have a great head start. You've been doing this already for nearly 20 years. And I think that could become a very strategic advantage moving forward. The model, the purely residential model already didn't work for so many students like you just mentioned, and like those that attend CU Denver. And if we're really truly committed to helping more students get access to a great education and as a springboard to great lives and great careers, we do need to think creatively about expanding in those spaces. And I think that could be a CU Denver unique strategic advantage, is to be able to provide the type of education, the modality of education that meets a student's need where they are. And so for some students, that's going to be coming on campus and taking advantage of all that an urban campus offers. And for others, that's going to be wanting an online education experience and online engagement experiences. And then for some students, they're going to want a hybrid experience, a blended experience, to be able to do some classes online and take advantage of what the campus itself has to offer. And I think if we can imagine an educational experience that is able to offer strong education and engagement experiences to students no matter how they want to learn, that's going to position us extraordinarily well for the future.
Yeah. I heard over the weekend, I think in one of the news programs, that someone was saying that perhaps COVID-19 hasn't so much changed the future as it has accelerated the future, that it causes us to just lean in to the future even more so than we had been. And I think what you're just talking about in terms of modalities and making the customized experience for students to fit into their lives and all of the other issues that they are dealing with. And also to think about people who, may have already had a degree, but are going to want to relearn, and the kind of displacement that has happened within the economy is going to be something that may provide even another need within the community that places like CU Denver is going to have to step up and be a part of.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I like to think about it as shifting our mindset from universities being the bridge between high school and a first job to being universities becoming lifelong learning partners to both students and to employers. And it just is true that it's very hard to predict what knowledges and skills we're going to need for the jobs of the future. So thinking about learning as something we do throughout life, as we need to pivot and adjust, just like what's happening right now when a lot of our community is out of a job, and the jobs that are going to emerge in the future are maybe different than the jobs that were there in the past. And so we'll be looking to see how CU Denver can play a big role in working with the city and employers and students and families to figure out how we can support education and learning that helps rebuild the regional economy and beyond.
I know you have a college freshman daughter, and so you're living every day with the realities of the impact of this. And tell us a little bit about, I believe her name is Allie.
Yes, Allie.
And and what is the insight that you see from her, Michelle, about these times?
Well, it's been interesting viewing this from a parent lens. She has like all other college kids that were living in dormitories, she moved back home after spring break and is completing, actually right now, she's upstairs finishing her final paper for this semester. And she had both positive and negative experiences with her classes shifting online. I think overall she was grateful to be able to complete the semester, but she's very hopeful to get back on campus in the fall. We don't know yet what that means for her, and obviously balancing her own interests in getting back on campus with health and safety. But it has been informative to me in just understanding that as we move forward online, it's important that whether we're that we need to do so with a very intentional focus on strong instructional design and focusing in on faculty development, so that when we do put classes online, we're very proud of the quality of education that we're delivering. And that isn't easy. That's a shift in the way that we're doing things. And I know that CU Denver has already, again, been ahead of the game in that space. And I'm excited to be joining a campus that's already doing this well and clearly committed to doing more of it.
Yeah.
Dorothy, I know that you've spent a great deal of time in the community of Denver working with them. Tell me what it means to be an asset to the city of Denver.
Well, I think that educational institutions really need to be at the table. And in my mind, there needs to be an inextricable connection that how do we let our knowledge serve the city? How, when there are challenges that the city is facing, that the larger community is facing, we've got faculty who are scholars, and being able to have the practical aspect of the work that they are doing, or businesses who are going through changes, that how do we tap into the expertise of our faculty. And then from the perspective of our students, that as you talk about the experiential learning opportunities that are abundant, we are within blocks of the downtown Denver business district, and many of our students work while they're going to school. And so them being able to bring the benefit of what they are learning to those employers and the businesses around, I think is terrific. And and you and I have talked a little bit about this, Michelle, that I think the whole notion of entrepreneurship and innovation, that when you think about Denver and who Denver is, and we're oftentimes talked about as being the startup capital of the country because of the numbers of business startups that are there. And so to have that fueled by the university in those kinds of ways of support for those startups, but also just creating the environment of discovery and innovation. And so it's to really live into the full promise, if you will, of what it means to be a public urban research university that's very accessible, that can be responsive. And that was one of the reasons when over the last couple of years that we established the city center that was right there at the corner of 14th and Lawrence Street, because we just felt that it was so critical that there be both a physical place and a literal place that says, we want to serve you. We want to make it easy for you to connect with us. And that's really what it means to me, to be a part of shaping the future of a city and be a place where hopefully we can model some of the same values of inclusiveness, of that welcoming, that opportunity for all, that I think are qualities that we want to be able to define, our relationship with the city going forward.
Dorothy, what are you going to miss the most?
It's got to be the people, and the sense. I'm sure I'll figure out in the next chapter what it will be that brings me a sense of purpose and meaning. We all need that in our lives. And I don't know exactly what kind of shape that will take, but at the end of the day, it's about being there for each other. And that has been such a delight for me. And I have grown to love the place and love the people. And I have no doubt that you are going to do the same, Michelle, that there's a resonance that I have felt from the very beginning, the first time that I met you, and that I know that this university is going to be in great hands. It's going to soar under your leadership because you bring some of the areas where I didn't have the strengths that you bring, and others that will just, I think, serve this institution extraordinarily well. And I may be spending a little more time with grandkids in Texas, but Denver and Colorado will always be my home. And so you can count on me to join the cheering squad. That I'll be in the audience and always be available to you, Michelle, in any way that I can be helpful at all. And what are you most looking forward to?
I am most looking forward to getting to know the people, getting to know the students, getting to know the faculty, getting to know the staff, getting to know the community, and working together to pick up where you will be leaving off and moving the university into the next level of growth and strength. I am very optimistic about that, even in the short-term challenge. I think the potential for the future is extraordinary. And I want to say publicly how grateful I am to you personally for welcoming me into the community and for investing time in me. And I will always be appreciative of that.
You're very welcome. And I just wish you all the success in the world. I think that this is the right time for you and the right time for CU Denver. And if I can ever be of assistance, all you have to do is call. But I just couldn't be more thrilled, Michelle, than what I am. And just enjoy every moment, savor those moments because they're all precious.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.